The film begins with a 1950s-style advertisement, touting the marvel of robotics and artificial intelligence. By studying the human brain, they created robots that look and act identical to humans. While at first they harmlessly integrate into society, the AI eventually attacks mankind by detonating a nuke over Los Angeles. In response to this, the Western world pledges to wipe AI from the face of the planet, much to the disagreement of Asia. The film then cuts to the year 2065, as several men emerge from the ocean on an Asian beach. They rush onto the shoreline while a spaceship scans the land for signs of intelligence. Our protagonist Joshua is laying in bed with his wife Maya when they hear a commotion outside. Several robots and soldiers enter the house, dragging an American soldier along with them. Apparently, the Americans have found their secret hideout and plan to rush the beach and wipe out all signs of AI. While gunfire and battle rages outside, Joshua then speaks with the half-conscious American, revealing that he is an undercover agent working with the Americans. Unfortunately, his wife overhears their conversation and holds a gun to him in shock. She flees from the house, where she rides off in a boat to escape her traitorous husband. To his shock, the spaceship up in orbit then scans the ocean where her boat is heading, dropping a missile onto the water and killing everyone. 5 years later, he awakens in bed suffering from PTSD while missing 2 of his limbs. While at a local doctor, he seems to be suffering from memory loss as he describes his new life. He now works as a scrapper, cleaning up the wreckage of Los Angeles after the bomb. Using a prosthetic arm and leg, he is able to go about his life without any hindrance from his missing limbs. Later that evening, he is approached by 2 military personnel. While initially rejecting them, they ask for his help in locating a super weapon that they believe is located in Asia. The mastermind behind all of this is a man named Nirmata, and Joshua wants nothing to do with it after the death of his wife. To his shock, they then play a recording of his wife, apparently taken only 2 days prior, proving that she is actually alive. He quickly changes his mind as he suits up for a new mission and flies out to Asia. Using high-tech aircraft, they fly over the hills of Asia while scanning for signs of AI. Eventually, arriving at their location, they move through the woods until they come across a local town. They raid the town and start interrogating the locals to gain information on the location of the AI. While they claim not to know anything, Joshua finds a lever hidden nearby and opens a tunnel underground. Moving through the tunnel, they raid the Asian labs and gun down all the opposition. Using their scanners, Joshua locates the weapon and sees on a camera his missing wife. His team then rushes to the location, shooting the guards and scientists that are hard at work. Unfortunately, the scientists seal the doors shut when they realize that their lab is being raided. This causes for the local police force to quickly rush to the town, where they are quickly eradicated by missiles from nearby air support. Unfortunately, more robots are quickly on the way. Meanwhile, Joshua and his team are hacking a vault door to retrieve the AI weapon. They battle for time against oncoming gunfire, leaving Joshua the only one by the vault when they finally hack it open. He slowly enters the room and is shocked to find that the secret AI weapon is actually just a robotic child. Hesitating, he is then shot by a nearby scientist while the child runs away. When air support shows up, we see that a large-scale battle has broken out over the town as Joshua gathers himself and runs through the field looking for his wife. Unfortunately, he is caught up in a large explosion when a missile is dropped on the town. The next day, we see Joshua as he arrives on land in a dilapidated rowboat. Looking over, he notices the AI child standing there looking at him. Not recognizing who he is, he brushes him aside and runs through the field to find the rest of his unit. He then finds a half-dead teammate named Shipley, while unknowingly being followed by the child. Suddenly, his radio activates as his commanding officer contacts him to check his status. He explains that he is with the AI child and is immediately ordered to kill it. While he initially points his gun at him, he hesitates before a Thai villager suddenly rushes into the room and aims a gun at him. He seems shocked to see the little boy, even though they are both robots. He claims that the child is a miracle, but is shot by Joshua before he can say anything more. While the child doesn't seem to react to anything around him, he begins to speak after being shown a video of Maya. Unfortunately, he doesn't speak English, so Joshua isn't sure what he is saying. He pulls out a translator to communicate with the boy, but the police then rush the building. When they throw a grenade into the home, a dog picks it up and brings it back to the robots, thinking he is playing fetch. It blows half the robots to pieces, while somehow the dog survives. Josh and the child then flee the building in a truck, escaping the near-fatal encounter. Meanwhile, his commanding officer, Colonel Howell, escapes police custody and commandeers a local police truck. They quickly ride away and attempt to locate Joshua. Unsure of where to go, he rides along in his car with both Shipley and the child. To their sadness, Shipley then dies in the back seat while begging for help. When a local truck of people drives up, Joshua decides to name the child Alfie. He tricks the locals into driving him to the city, while Colonel Howell is hot on his trail. Using advanced technology, they transfer Shipley's mind into a nearby robot to find the location of Alfie. He reveals the location of him and Joshua before the robot short-circuits and dies. Realizing Joshua is now a traitor, their new orders are to hunt the two of them down. Joshua and Alfie are then seen driving into the city with one of the locals. When they are stopped at a local checkpoint, Alfie uses strange abilities to cause an EMP to shut down all technology in the surrounding area. Taking advantage of the disturbance, they rush into the city to escape. Hiding undercover, they board a local bus and ride to a place called Lilat City. As they ride, he chats with Alfie, shocked by how realistic of a child he seems to be. In a flashback, we see that Joshua was initially ordered to seduce Maya for information. Apparently, Nirmata is her father and classified as a terrorist. As the two of them fall in love, we are jolted back to the present, where Joshua and Alfie walk through the streets of Lilat City. Pulling up to a local factory, Josh meets up with one of his friends named Drew. They are all shocked to see how realistic Alfie behaves and her advanced technology. Upon further inspection, they conclude that Alfie is equipped with a special type of technology that allows her to grow. As she ages, her ability to control remote technology will grow alongside her, making her unstoppable in the future. As they continue to discuss, Drew's AI girlfriend secretly calls the police. To their surprise, Josh then appears and fights off the police with a handgun. He makes quick work of them and quietly manages to escape with both Drew and the child. The three of them then use Maya's wedding ring to track her location, bringing them to Joshua's old house on the beach. While he searches the wreckage of his old home, he finds the ring hidden in the debris, proving that the recording he was shown was a fake. While he processes this, Drew rushes into the building to warn him of an incoming police attack. Gunfire then rains down on them, hitting him in the back. With his dying breath, he reveals that Nirmata isn't Maya's father, but is Maya herself. The entire time, the military has been hunting Joshua's wife. He grabs Alfie and makes a run for it, only to be quickly captured on the beach. When he wakes up, he finds himself locked in a prison on a local Asian boat. With Alfie's help, he manages to escape under gunfire, diving into the water and swimming away. The locals on the boat take Alfie to the nearest city, led by a robot named Haran. While Josh is eavesdropping on their conversation, they want to use Alfie to shut down the large spacecraft that drops bombs on their villages. Unfortunately, she wouldn't survive such a large-scale attack. That night, Josh sneaks into Haran's house and grabs Alfie before fleeing. Before they can make it far, the Americans show up to invade the city so they can capture the child. They unveil a new weapon, which is a large military tank that rolls through the town and flattens nearby buildings. They drop bombs across the city and begin killing civilians, causing Alfie to rush back into the city so she can help. While they try to fight back, the firepower from the Americans is clearly superior. They send out several kamikaze robots that explode upon impact until Alfie approaches and shuts them down. Unfortunately, Alfie is shot by a stray bullet while attempting to disarm the rest of the units. Josh then appears and saves Alfie from the rest of the Americans. Seeing him protect Alfie, the rest of the locals decide to bring them to Nirmata. A long time passes as Josh begins to integrate with the Asian culture. Changing his identity and hairstyle, he is eventually taken to a local temple where he searches for Maya. He finds her laying on a bed, hooked up to machines in a coma. Apparently, she lost her child the night of the attack and hasn't awakened since. Begging for her forgiveness, Josh unplugs the machine at Alfie's request, allowing Maya to pass on to the afterlife. As soon as this happens, the Americans roll up in their airships and begin to attack the local robots. Before Josh can escape with Alfie, Colonel Howell shows up and threatens him at gunpoint. But to her surprise, Harun shoots her in the back with an explosive before being killed himself. Feeling satisfied with her mission, Colonel Howell's celebration is short-lived after the explosive on her back is detonated from a delayed timer. Alfie and Josh look on in shock as Harun struggles to his feet and rushes out of the room. Using the confusion to his advantage, Josh then returns to the Americans and is hailed a hero. The village is then bombed as he flies away in one of the vessels. Days later, Joshua is at a local military base where he is brought to see Alfie under surveillance. He is ordered to kill her to prove that he is on their side. He then uses a small EMP handgun to eliminate Alfie. It charges up in his hand, and he releases it into her forehead, ending the life of the child robot. As they transport Alfie's body in a military vehicle, one of the men then looks closer at the surveillance video footage. They notice that Alfie wasn't actually shot with the gun, and that Joshua had faked the entire thing. Alfie then uses her powers to shut down all local technology, and the two of them escape to a local airport. They board a plane, and Alfie manages to hijack the ship and fly it to the large missile-equipped spacecraft in the sky. Upon landing, they drop smoke grenades into the plane and attempt to grab them from within. To their shock, they find Josh wearing a spacesuit as he opens the door and depressurizes the plane. The military men are sucked out the door as Josh arms an explosive to blow up the spacecraft. Knowing that he has no chance of sneaking through the base, he climbs on the outside of the plane to plant the bomb on the military craft. With the help of Alfie sabotaging it from within, he climbs across the ship while the civilians flee on escape pods. Using her powers, Alfie manages to deactivate the entire spacecraft, allowing Josh time to plant the explosives on the ship. After doing so, Alfie explores the rest of the spacecraft, where she locates a robotic body with the face of Maya. To her confusion, she believes that her mother is still alive and tries to drag the robot body through the ship. She then uploads a robotic personality into the robot, artificially reviving Maya into an android. The military, on the other hand, realizes that they are about to lose their greatest weapon. As their final maneuver, they decide to drop bombs across as many Asian countries as they can. Realizing what is happening, Alfie decides to ready an escape pod to save herself and Josh from the ship. Unfortunately, they are both neutralized by a large squid-like robot until Alfie shuts it down with her remote powers from within a nearby escape pod. Unfortunately, the door is jammed shut and she struggles to open it for Josh. Unfortunately, the bomb they planted on the ship then explodes from its 10-minute timer. Unable to open the door to the escape pod, Josh decides that he must save the child and pulls a nearby lever, releasing Alfie and the escape pod from the ship. With his final farewell, he bids Alfie goodbye as the ship explodes with him on it. In his final moments, he sees Maya in the body of the robot and embraces her for the final time. Although brief, the two of them have their final moment together before the ship explodes in the air, freeing the robots from their greatest enemy. Thanks for watching the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out when you do that. And of course, check out the other videos if you like watching recaps.